Okay, so we're right at the hour. We'll wait just 1 or 2 more minutes for people to join. So for people who are just joining us, we're in a Zoom webinar, so you're muted and your camera is turned off by default, but we can allow you to talk. So if you'd like to ask any questions over the mic, you're absolutely allowed to do that. You can just let us know in the chat that you'd like to talk. You can also ask questions via the Q&A module or just in the chat. I'll be monitoring both of them. Okay, so it's 12:01. We'll go ahead and get started with some housekeeping, and people who are joining a little late, they can come in and hopefully not be too disoriented. So as I mentioned, you're in a Zoom webinar. You can use a Q&A model to ask questions. We do have a code of conduct for this event, this ISU Open Education Week event, so I'm going to paste that into the chat. I also am pasting some other links, which I'll explain in a minute. But we want to let you know, first of all, the session is being recorded and being live streamed on YouTube to share later. And we want to thank the ISU Cultural Events Committee for sponsoring this week's events. So why are we doing Open Education Week? Well, earlier this year, the library got really interested in open education when we found out about some recent research. We learned that 42% of Florida college students said that they took fewer classes because they could not afford their textbooks. And then we learned about a 2019 meta-analysis that showed that courses that adopted OER saw a 29% average decrease in their withdrawal rates. And so those two numbers together, I think, tell a pretty compelling story about the financial situation of students impacting retention. Before we turn it over to today's speaker, I just have a couple quick announcements. First, if you weren't already aware, ISU is now an ebook publisher. We have a product called Pressbooks provided by the State Board of Education in Idaho. If you're interested in writing free content, absolutely contact me. I'm Kristen Whitman at the library, or contact any librarian, they'll refer you to me, and you can start writing your free ebook. We can provide you with training and everything you'll need to do that. We also, thanks to our collaborator, Daphne Sang, have a new OER course in Moodle for faculty. You can self-enroll in that course for updates about OER events at ISU and training materials. And finally, next week is Idaho Open Education Week. It's a statewide virtual event series that's going on. I've pasted the link in the chat, but for those watching on live stream, or if you forget and then want to check it out later, if you just Google Idaho Open Education Week, it'll come right up. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to today's speaker. Amy Jo Popa is a senior lecturer in the art department at ISU, and she was recognized as a fall 2020 textbook hero. She has some really cool things to talk about and demonstrate today. So with I will turn it over to Amy. Amy, take it away. Let me stop sharing my screen.
All right. Here we are today at ISU, and I want to talk a little bit about the process that I went through getting an OER book. And let me tell you, it was a challenge. And at first, we were just searching for a new book to fit our students, to fit our course. And then we found that awesome idea that it was an open educational resource. That kind of clinched it for us when we were looking for new products. Because number one, we know that burden on students, and especially being a general education requirement course, that this book, they may never use it again. So why are we causing them to spend $200 plus, and they only use a part of that book. To us, and I and a colleague, Ryan Babcock, who have taught this class for about 15 years now, this became very important because we really care about our students. We really care about the numbers, and we really care about that dropout rate too. And as art students, we know that money is tight, and that goes along with kids all across campus. That's something that we learned right away, okay? So when it came to finding our book, and let me share just a little bit here, my desktop, because this is where the book lies, okay? It's beautiful cover art, Introduction to Art, Design, Context, and Meaning. It's released to us by the University of North Georgia Press. They worked very hard putting this book together. It has many beautiful images, and I can have it right here as a PDF. My students can download it to their computer. They can take it anywhere with them. They don't even have to pay for that. If they want a hard copy, it costs them about $30. And yes, I do have that hard copy too. Check it out right here. And we have wonderful, there's colored pages even. Not as big as the old ones, that books that cost exorbitant money, but for a book you're not going to keep, or a book you might use for one semester, I think $30 is pretty cheap. And if you can't spend that, well, it is free. So I love having it in Moodle. I get questions from students who are preparing for class. They're like, Mrs. Popa, how much is the book going to cost? Well, guess what? It doesn't cost you anything. And then they get really excited about class, okay? So some of the challenges, though, using a free book is the quality there. Yes, the quality is there. That was one of the things that we picked the book for before we even knew it was a free resource, okay, was the quality. The needs. Does it fit our needs as ISU, the Department of Art? Well, yeah, it was very close. There are a couple things we needed to do to tweak it. Where we focus here in our department is teaching them the basics about art, the principles, the elements, so they can talk about any piece around the world. They can break the ice, right? Say if you're in your interview for that landing your job and you see an artwork behind your boss, you have the skills to talk about any piece, even if you don't know the title of it, right? That's what we want to give them. This, how it applies to everyday life. So we took the book and we took the main chapter, which we feel is the meat, the guts. We broke that into 4 pieces. We spread it out over 4 weeks. So that was one of the challenges, was to take the book and fit our class the way we want to teach it and the information we want to give our students. So as we're taking that book, we both got the book about a semester before we decided we want to use this. We had a summer in between, and we decided we were going to release it fall of 18. So I'm teaching a summer kind of sculpture class, which was an investigation, a new one for me, and it was an 8-week course. And I found this overlapping into my preparation for building this new course. But I buckled down and I spent 200 hours in 2 weeks building PowerPoints, getting everything together, and I had the most amazing resource on campus, and that is called ITRC. These people not only took our book, gathered every single image from that book, put them in a little folder so I could build PowerPoints. They helped me get all kinds of ADA requirements for every PowerPoint, for every single class material. So when fall came around, 6 weeks after I started, we were ready to launch a fully new course based on a new book. And that was one of the greatest things I think that came out of that process of adopting the new book. Number one, we're able to streamline the classes. We have, I think, about 10 different sections each semester, 45 students up to in each class, and we have 5 or 6 different instructors. So how do we get us all on the same page, teaching the same kind of philosophy and meeting those same goals? Well, one way, as the director of Art 1100, well, redesign the course. We have this opportunity, adopting a new book. Let's do this. Let's get us all on the same page. So number one, it was kind of the cherry in disguise by adopting a new OER that we found out. And some of our student comments from the redesign, it's the easiest course they've ever taken online, okay? There's no complaints about the cost of the book. There's no complaints about the access to the book or that it's hard to use or navigate, okay? All this came together by working with ITRC, by adopting that book. We were able to bring hands-on projects from how we taught the class before, incorporate it into the new course, marry it with parts of the book, right, that we are now using, and use videos. So we are getting these variations of ways of learning, right? There are 7 different ways that we learn as human beings. We're not all visual, audible, tactile. There are other ways. We are experiential. We learn by doing, by getting involved, okay? So we want to go outside just the book, the lecture, the PowerPoint, the quiz, right? We want to get them doing projects, get them involved, get them to actually have this critical thinking and dialogue when they're doing this Zentangle project, which is a hands-on drawing, but it's also a relaxation technique. It takes them into creating art, being one-on-one with that process. But it also challenges them too to think about it. Do they consider what they just did art? Or is it just kind of touching that surface? Okay, so I get a wide range of discussion from that and their opinion, right? And nobody's gonna have the same opinion because we're all individuals. And I love that about teaching this class, because every time we look at one piece of art with 45 students, we have 46 different opinions about what it is, because I am the 46th one, right? The teacher. So it is an exciting field to be in, and it's an exciting class to teach. And one thing I love about also adopting the new book was the fact that it can be an online course, it can be a face-to-face course. It is done very well in this hybrid kind of environment we're now living in. I teach it with Zoom and my students, right? So it works that way too. It has all these possibilities. And I almost think without adopting the new OER, I know I wouldn't have learned about all this different capability and different ways of teaching and variable ways of reaching my students too, okay? So if you're scared about adopting an OER, throw that out the window and just think about it as a new adventure, right? You are gonna learn something as well. I think that's part of the reason why a lot of us teach, is because we want to learn. We don't want to stop. We want to gain new and be different. And I think using an OER and having that ability to constantly change them and tweak them, and like she was saying, the ability to build our own books from that, how exciting of a future do we have as educators, right? Yes, I see Kristen nodding her head, and I do agree that it is an exciting future for us. That was one of the reasons why I thought, you know, teaching is really a great job. I'm happy to come to work. I'm happy to be here for my students. And student feedback is another way that we change things, we make it better. And we can take these OER resources and make something fabulous for them, okay? Just a couple other ideas or student benefits, I might say. The book being affordable, almost free. And if they do want to spend the $30, well, they can make some great magnets out of it in the end, right? They can cut it up and collage it. They can make their own artwork. We're going to find that Well, it's always accessible when we have those OERs. They're available to everybody, no matter what your monetary kind of background is. Whether you are living on your Pell Grants going to school or you have your full ride, right? Everybody can access that. And I think that gives equality to education. And that's something we really need to strive for, I think, here in the US, that we all have that equal opportunity to be educated. Because that's the only way we can solve problems, make new inventions, and go forward as human beings, right? Okay. I think it's really cool that, the course can be adapted and these OER resources can be very adaptable for us. They can also help us streamline the course and get our major objectives out there. Make sure we know what we're teaching them. Make those course alignment maps, which when you go to ITRC, they make sure you have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. So the projects you're handing out, the reading you are handing out, things that you are assigning, there is a purpose, and the students who know that purpose. Why am I doing this, Mrs. Popa? Well, your course objective, the learning objective, these modules all start working together. And then you find you have a really tight course and one that students really appreciate and learn from. So I can't thank ITRC enough for elevating Art 1100 for our university and our students, and working with me as well in that process. I think that might be close to what I have to say about the OERs. Kristen?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. You probably see me nodding because I'm so excited about what you're saying. I do have a couple of questions for you, and one is a practical question about the art OER. When I took a look at it, it seemed to me that the images that were included were also open images, so they were under Creative Commons licensing. Did you ever feel that that was restricting the textbook in including pieces of art that maybe were classic or the art that everybody references when talking about a particular topic?
I don't think that really inhibits us because we are pretty aware of those famous pieces, right?
Yeah.
We get to travel, we get to see them. I like highlighting things that really aren't as well known to give people even a deeper look into what is out there in the art world rather than just the old standbys. So having those common licensed materials and some of the not so famous ones, I think it gives our job kind of a refreshing break too, that we get to learn about something new or something different, variable artists, instead of just Michelangelo, just Vincent van Gogh. We aren't a true history class. We do touch on history, but we want to introduce you to the arts. And to arts, to me, it is wide encompassing.
Right. That's awesome. I was also going to ask you too, I will say, first of all, that the major theme of ISU Open Education Week, every single speaker has said, I could not have done it without the ITRC. So I just want to add absolutely how amazing they are. I don't know how they get it all done, but they have the ability and the knowledge to make classes, as you said, so aligned with the learning goals and so effective. But in a perfect world, if you were going to redesign your course and you didn't have to put 200 hours in a week, what kind of support would have been helpful to you in this OER project to help you get the work done in a way that was low stress, easy to do, easy to accomplish?
I think having a course release might have been one of the most brilliant things to do for people who are trying to build a new course, rather than, okay, you have to take up learning online. So I was teaching 4 classes plus taking my own class on how to teach online, plus building this class. So you talk about overload, and especially on lecturers, right? We seem to carry a lot in our departments. Yeah, it becomes very stressful. And I think for future reference for, other people, please try to get some other kind of outside help, some kind of course release, some kind of something, so you don't go kind of crazy or become that overachiever and just totally work yourself to the ground.
Burnout. Do you
Yeah.
think any student assistance would have been helpful, or really was it all work that you needed to do yourself and you wouldn't have been able to sort of outsource it to a student employee to help?
Actually, we did have a student assistant at IRTC that was helping me. She was from the art department. It was amazing to have, an art student who was actually getting paid to help work on the PowerPoints, the projects. So it was awesome having, somebody who was already in that mindset, like, they understood where I was coming from, right? Maybe more student help. I'm not sure on that one, if it
Yeah.
would have been really beneficial or not.
Yeah, the line of my questioning is really kind of banging my own drum, but I would love to see the university have some sort of investment or some sort of option that if your goal was to adopt an OER, that there was, finances you could apply for to get you that course release or whatever it needs to happen to not make it a burnout sort of situation. Because the payoff, as we see, is huge, but it also compounds itself because every future semester that students don't have to take a textbook is impacting more and more students. So I am with you. I think a course release is a great idea. You talked a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced. Is there anything else that you can think of that would have helped you overcome those challenges?
I guess time,
Just time.
yeah, I should, one thing, thinking yourself afterwards, oh, I should have started that project a little earlier, maybe not promised it so, fast or something. But then you're just so excited to, help your students and get them that book and save them money that everything's possible, right?
Right.
So
And from what I understand, you actually won a grant as part of this process. Is that what jump started it?
yes, the open educational resource. Well, we kind of got the grant after starting the project.
After starting it, okay.
So there was a little bit of monetary compensation between that and the stipend for going through the online courses and completing that process of Quality Matters.
Right.
So there was tiny compensation in the end. I didn't do it for that reason,
Right.
but that was well appreciated, definitely.
For sure.
Money is always helpful, but I think time is even more helpful.
Absolutely. If anyone, by the way, I hate to monopolize Amy Jo's time. If anyone else has questions, you are welcome to type them in the chat or the Q&A. But Amy, I also wanted to ask you, or Amy Jo, sorry, not to shorten your name. I also wanted to ask you, now that we have this ISU Pressbooks platform that I was mentioning, does it inspire you to want to create any kind of your own content?
Yes, it does. I think it's inspiring. Both Ryan Babcock, the professor who I work with, who found the book, and then we decided that we can work together to create a new one, a new class. I think we want to go through and how we tweak kind of our lectures for this book. I think we want to tweak the whole book now. I think it'll be a really fun and exciting process, and having two of us that have the ability to edit with all that material started and having just time to work out without an end date, I think it'll be a lot less stress too.
Yes, for sure. Definitely a lot less stress. And I think the potential of being able to tweak the book is so infinite because it is open content. You not only can you copy and paste it into a new platform, but add videos, add additional CC images, take out content that you're not going to cover. Maybe consider increasing the diversity of the content, diversity of voices, putting in some local voices to Idaho. I mean, there's so much that you can do. And so I am very excited to help you work on that project in the future if and when you're ready to get started. As the Pressbooks administrator, you just contact me. I would set you up with training and the login, and then it would be your playground. So if anyone else is listening on the live stream and interested in something like that, you can definitely get in touch with me. Again, I'm Kristen Whitman, Kristen with 2 eyes.
Kristen, that sounds like a really exciting and fun thing to dive into, and just making that available to all of us professors. I'm kind of excited about the future of education.
Right. And it doesn't have to be a book, a full book. Maybe it's just a chapter. Maybe it's a learning module. Maybe you include your discussion questions or your quiz questions, or you include, as we talked about yesterday, an H5P interactive module. So yeah, it opens up infinite possibilities, really.
And then that open educational resource, we can share it with others in the state of Idaho as well, right?
Yes, in fact, it'll just be online for anyone to Google up, find, use, read. Like you were saying, we all deserve access to education. And they could make a derivative of your work as well. If someone in Minnesota liked what you did but wanted to replace some of your content with their content, they could absolutely do it. So you'd be really making a contribution to the wider world of free education as well.
Sweet. That's kind of a neat thing to do.
Yeah, it'd be like really fulfilling thing to do, I think. So, well, absolutely. If there are any other questions, for the folks in the Zoom, you're now able to speak, or Daphne, if there are any live stream comments, we can address those as well.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you for putting this together. It was fascinating.
Yeah, this was really interesting. Imagine that took quite a bit of work, 200 hours. That's quite a commitment there to get going at the beginning.
Yeah, we have a lot of images that we like to talk about, so. Long PowerPoints.
I have a question. Have you made your PowerPoints available to the person who created the book?
I have not yet. So
I wonder if because I know that some OERs come with companion materials. I wonder if there's a way for you to share your companion materials.
that's a really neat idea, Jenny. I've never thought about that. I'm gonna write that down.
I love that.
I do too, because it was amazing when we adopted the book that there were no other resources with it, right? So
Right.
Ooh, do you really want to do that? Dive in and have that burden, and to save students money, we were like, we will take that burden.
Right. You could make it even easier for the next generation of adopters.
Right.
Because it would be almost its own OER, a companion to the teacher's companion to the text.
Thank you.
Such an awesome point, Jenny. Thank you so much.
That is really, and I guess that's why we're here, to share ideas, to share the open resources, and to keep, that ball rolling. So brilliant.
Well, I'm hoping to read that book, so I'd love to look at your companion materials.
I might have missed this in the presentation. I had to step away just briefly, but in the past, when you used other textbooks, were you creating your own exam materials and own quiz questions, or is that how you're assessing students, or did you have to create your own quizzes, I guess is my question.
In the past, we were using standardized quizzing. We would create our own exams, though. We would pull from those, and plus our standard stuff that we were using prior to changing to Gateways, which was a book from Europe. So they gave us all packaged material, and then we were all kind of required to do our own exams, write our own exams. So this actually, using the OER, now we have all the exams are kind of standardized through Moodle, and they take them in Moodle, which, I think for assessment of how the course is being taught, I think, we don't vary much, from instructor to instructor that way, which hopefully guarantees each student the same quality of education, no matter who their instructor is.
Oh, are you saying that your OER textbook is used in all the Art 1100 classes at Idaho State?
Yes,
Okay.
but each professor, they can tailor, say one of our professors is a painter, maybe he might do a little more with painting, and I'm more of a sculptor, so I might do a little more, my images with sculpture. So we can kind of tailor each of, the sections, the lectures to our perspective, but we don't stray too far, from the actual text. So it gives us a little bit of leeway, a little bit of, personalization. So we're not all cookie cutters teaching the same exact, rewind, repeat. We want a little bit of personality in there too.
Another follow-up question with the quiz questions. Do you have like a question bank that draws randomly from the quiz questions? Or, I mean, do you ever worry about students cheating? I mean, if the quizzes are all the same, would that cause some concern or like with student cheating?
I've gotten over student cheating because of giving them the open educational resource. It's available to them. They can use it as a resource while they are taking their quiz, their test. I cannot control that, right? And how I think about that, the philosophy, if they're using their book to complete that question, they're relearning that. So in that, taking that test, that quiz, if they didn't know that answer, well, they're teaching it to themselves one more time, okay? So cheating, it's not even a word to me anymore in Art 1100 using the open resource. Because what if I don't know something, I'll go Google it, right? I'm gonna go look it up. I answer those things for myself. And that's what we're trying to teach our students, okay? To be that investigator, to teach yourself, to get that answer. It's there, it's out there somewhere for us. And whether you're using your book, Google, whatever, I want you to be successful in my class, so use your resources. Does that help, Spencer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is good pedagogy when students have opportunities to interact with the materials more than once. I was just wondering, I think some professors might be worried if the quizzes are all the same across all the sections. There are some students that will like take photos of the quiz questions and share with their classmates and stuff or whatever. So,
Set ours up. I set them up to be randomized. I set them
Okay.
up where we have more questions in the question bank than the quiz itself. So it's going to randomly give them 10 questions here. And they get 2 attempts. And I've had a student ask me, they go, well, when I took the quiz again, I didn't get the same questions. I'm like, well, that's because there's more than, questions than in the question bank than you get asked. So when you take it again, you're not just repeating the same old stuff. So again, it's encouraging them to learn more, I think.
I'm so glad to hear that you're doing it that way, because I think that is good practice. It's still getting them involved with the content. And as long as it's, it's drawing from the same bank of questions for the same reading material, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And each, I set up everybody's class who teaches kind of under me, because being the coordinator or director. So every section has the same 250 question bank, right? So, but each student doesn't get the same group, no matter in each, how that randomness works.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Those were fun to answer, actually.
Yeah, I really appreciate the engagement, and I think we just had an awesome conversation. We're at the half hour, So if anyone else would like to ask a last question, otherwise I think we are good to say good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me and giving me the opportunity today.
All right,
Thank
bye
you.
everybody.